All right, I bought this collector last week and I used it on a little crafting session. I also picked up the Dust Deputy that all came the day before, so I didn't get really a chance to modify it. But anyway, I'm gonna put everything on this cart, and that's what I'm working on right now. So the Dust Deputy is gonna sit right here. I took this part right over here and just took it off. I don't plan on using anything except for the filter. So just the filter bag, that's it. And then I'll vent outside or make another choice on what I'm doing there. So gotta put a gate on it. But anyway, right now I am coming up with this thing, and I went down to Lowe's and got a 4x8 sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. It's about $35, and I've just cut the plywood together and cut around 16-inch hole in my CNC. A little bit bigger. I don't like for things to be real tight. They don't hurt them to vibrate around a little bit in there. So it's got about a quarter or 3/8. It's got about 3/8 inch gap all the way around the barrel. But that way I don't have to worry about trying to get it to fit. So anyway, I've just screwed this with sheetrock screws about every 6 inches or so. And cut me a couple of triangular shapes with the nubs cut off of it, and I'm getting ready to go put that on there and then screw it onto the bottom of that base over there using the original bolts. All right, well, I had originally planned to use the original bolts. It didn't work out too good because the middle of my plywood here was coming out right over them holes. So just ran 2 screws in there since I was going into the head. Used the bolts heads that were on there. Just ran 2 screws that held it, clamped it, and then I went on the inside and I drilled some holes for a 1/4 inch 1x25 carriage bolt, and so that's where I put them in there, and that's holding the box down. So there's that. I'll take all my clamps off. There's my 4 carriage bolts. So let's get that taken off there. All right, that's it bolted down with the stock Harbor Freight dust collector with impeller in there, and all staying factory there. This is from 1 sheet of plywood, 3/4 inch, and I think it should be pretty solid. This dust collector comes with these little casters on there, and when I was using it the other day, that part was pretty good, but the Dust Deputy was a little bit wonky as far as falling over, so we're gonna kind of fix that stuff. So let's put the Dust Deputy in there and have a gander. Alrighty, there she is, plumbed in. I've still got some work to do on it to fine tune it a little bit. I need to took a little bit taller piece of whatever in here just to level that up, just because it probably bug me if it's not straight. Anyway, there's the mod, and I've just got some old aluminum tape on there. It didn't stick very well, so I've got to go over all of the seams. Metal ducting is fine, but all of the seams leak. Everything on the metal ducting leak. The elbows, the bends, these, every one of them leak. So you need to wrap them up. I run screws, tap screws through there, and then run some aluminum, and I'll probably put a little more aluminum tape over the top of it. And to clean this, all you gotta do is just lift this out, pull the Dust Deputy out, and drop that back down. This doesn't matter if it leaks a little bit. It doesn't matter other than you lose a little bit of your deal. It's what goes on between this thing here and that thing right there. If you have any leaks in that container, this thing will throw debris out to the filter. And so anyway, this basically sits in there when it's time to clean it. You just let that up out of there, pull this out, grab that ring, pop it off there, and go dump it. So that's very similar to what I got going on over here. That's just 4 inch on the Super Dust Deputy. This is, I think, a Super Dust Deputy Extra. I went to Lowe's and picked up 6 to 5 inch reducer, 2 sections of pipe, 3 elbows that were 5 inch, all 5 inch, and then of course I had some panhead screws and a little plumber's tape, and you need some aluminum duct tape and a sheet of plywood, and had 4 carriage bolts with some nuts, and I think that's the gist of it. A few screws, and there. So I've got to put a switcher box here for either venting outside or venting to a filter. So probably put that filter right up in here somewhere, and just put a little rack right there, and the bag will sit right over in this area here. Which with the Super Dust Deputy, I just don't plan on getting anything through that impeller. It's 99.9%, 99% clean of dust, because this thing catches it. So there you go. One time it gets past it is when it's full. And you run it anyway, then it gets full and drops it in there. So I'll probably put a box like that one up there. It's got the bag on the end of it, and then the other side vents to the outside. So I'll have a way to duct that out there indoor. I'm going to keep this portable. I did drop the height on the crazy thing. It was so high I wouldn't go through my cargo trailer without moving around. So anyway, yeah, I'll probably get her finished up sometime tomorrow and get her done. Plywood cost me about 35 bucks. The plumbing cost me with the plywood and the plumbing about probably $120. Then I bought I bought a tool that was $43 to put the crimps in there, and that was necessary because I'm not real good on it. I could have maybe gotten away with one piece of this pipe. I would have cut everything just perfectly, but I didn't, and so I had to go down and get another little piece in there and cut that up just a little bit. And there you go. All right, I picked up one of these 6-inch pieces from Lowe's. It's a chimney stack. It's thicker thicker metal than the other. And I just drilled out the pop rivets. I'm going to put that around there and put 2 service seals on it to connect up the end of that thing right down there on the floor. So you get that way. I'll probably put a piece of tape or something around both edges so that it'll be able to bite in a little deeper. So let me get that done. Okay, I went through there and sealed up all my bends, all my straight pipes. I've got a few little gaps that I didn't get some of the straight seams, but if I ever take it off, I'll do that. But I went over all my elbows and all my straight seams, and down there around the collector with this really good tape. I really like this stuff. It's called Sure Tape, and I probably got it at Lowe's. But Sure Tape 181, it goes a long ways. And put that on there, but so it's sealed up. And of course, the way to get to it is just to simply lift this up and then pull your drum out. This has got a quick disconnect right here. This also keeps the hose from being pulled. And this little guy here is held down by friction right there. And if I if I need to, I can put a something that holds that down tight. But I've been over there for 3.5 years and never had a pipe clamp on that top hose off the desk leg. It sits there by friction. So that's why I've learned that, what's important is, again, down there, that still can't leak. If it does, you get stuff out. I just got through sanding up a bunch of white plastic from the table saw that cut some pipes in half. Had nothing come out of this right here. It's all in that barrel, every bit of it. So, I mean, there was nothing, no snow of any kinds coming out. So that's working good. This steel here, I ended up taking that stove pipe, cutting the rivets off of it. Used 2 super seals, or whatever you want to call them, 4-inch clamps. These are actually 5-inch, and 5 to 7s at Lowe's. And then, of course, I took the rivets out of it, put it around there. I put a piece of tape on the nozzles on each side, and then brought that around, put my service seals on there, and then I duct taped over the top of that with some good duct tape, brand duct tape. And I mean, it's on there pretty good. That stove ductwork is almost twice as thick as this stuff is, so I think that'll probably be okay. And then I wrapped it with a layer or 2 of duct tape, so it's pretty solid. We'll find out. And then put my hoses on, and now it's time to transition back over here and to get this situation set up. So now I need to create that little box up there and make it bigger so that it will accept a 6-inch inlet or 5-inch inlet, because that's a 4-inch inlet. So I'm going to measure this right here, take that plastic thing off the top of this, and then that box will sit directly on top of it. And one will vent out to a bag up here. We'll go to a bag here. The other one will vent out to a pipe on the side of it. So anyway, that's kind of what we got going on. And of course, that's what it's doing there from the two different sizes. So I've got to kind of study that up a little bit, because it's just a little bit different configuration, but not much. And so yeah, so there we go. And she's coming together. It's got really good suction. So I mean, it does real good. And of course, now I'm a firm believer of venting outside when you can. So that's why I'm going to put a gate on here that I can vent it outside, or I can vent it into the bag with just you know, on that one there, I just pull that dowel and gravity keeps it up and that kind of thing. So got to do a little studying on this one and modify that plan for that gate box and make it work for here. Alright, I'm using that scrap out of that piece of plywood. It's that 3/4 inch 4x8 sheet. This is one of the remnants of it, and it was right at the size as I needed for the round for the Harbor Freight for the filter. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to put a round right here, and this will be the top edge of it, and it'll be basically around here, so it's not centered. It's going to be coming around here, and so the bag will sit out right in here and come up to about right here. So that's where it's going to fit in there, and looking good. All right, I cut this out of a piece of that 3/4 inch plywood. It was like 21 inches by 21 inches. This circle is like 19.5 inches round, and this is a 4 by 6 inch hole. This fits strictly over the top of the output of the blower motor, the fan enclosure, and then it, of course, it has the little round bolt holes, you know, one on each side and then two on the ends, and those all line back up, and I bolted that up. So this 3/4 inch piece of material was designed to set it so you can take the bag and then use the clamp that came with the bag, the cloth bag, and put it around that and then clamp it down so that it would hold. And so anyway, that's what I did. I was thinking about going to the time of making a gate like I have on my other one. And this is the gate that I have on my other one, which allows me to switch it inside and out. So basically, the fan blows into it, and then, when it's in normal mode, it just blows straight through, to the bag. And then when it's to vent it outside, then it's slid over and the air is redirected to vent outside. So, that works good. The only thing is, I was thinking, you know what? This is a portable dust collector. Do I really need to go to that trouble of making one like that? If all else fails, I could easily make an adapter that I could just plug into that right there and then just run a hose, vent it right outside. So, that would be something. All I'd have to do is just pop that off, make me an adapter that fits on that, and then it would go right outside. So we'll just have to see if I need that. It really does a good job of sucking air as it is with the Dust Deputy. It keeps it clean. So anyway, let me get back to the other part of it, and there we go. All right. There she went. Got her bolted on there. This wood ring. Just put a hole in it. There's my Harbor Freight box. I'll put a little hook right here in the center that'll come out and hold this up. I'll brace it off the two sides so it'll be good and strong. And there we go. Good suction. Good. There she goes. Probably put that on a little bit of a bungee just so that it stays about right. Okay. Looky here. The blower's blowing right into the fabric, right into the bag. Wonder what's going on. Well, let's check it out here. Oh, there's some magic on the scene here. Oneida Super Dusty Deputy XL. I think it's XL. I've got another system that's right over there. I probably alluded to that already. Anyway, I've used it for like 5 years now. And all this one does is, and this worked great. You know, if you want to see how much stuff's in there, shine a flashlight down there and have a poke. You just lift that up, bend this out, and have a look at it. The 15-gallon container is about right. I'm 66. It's about right for not having to fight it to get it outside. It's a little heavy. You know, so I went with the same size setup, and that one there, I don't know that style with a big wide base is still available. This one I think ships easier, so they probably adopted this one. Anyway, it all came in one box, and yeah, so it came in pretty nice little deal. I did add a Grizzly flexible hose. I do not like this hose. It springs, the action springs together too tight, and I've seen it on the web. They said the same thing. It retracts too much, so I like that hose there because it stays put. It doesn't. There's nothing pulling it back. It's still flexible enough to where you can use it, but you know you're not fighting. This thing here, every time you pull it, it's pulling back on you. So yeah. Anyway, so having said that, the system works really good. And I talked about earlier about bringing out both ports out here. This was on the impeller down there in the original machine, and it was designed to take stuff right through the impeller and then bring it up through the separation of that unit there. So nothing gets to the blower this way. It all stays in the bucket. 99.9% pure air goes through this and goes back out, comes back through there, goes through the impeller, and out. I was over here vacuuming up sawdust, and didn't have anything on there, no filter, no nothing, and it was just, you know, it was just a piece of cake. There's nothing coming out of it. It was just all keep staying inside of this. And so you got this seal right here between this and this container. It works great. I see a lot of people make mistakes because they try to extend this down, and they're inviting leaks, and their systems will go into leaks. Doesn't really matter so much about this. This only has to do with your performance of your suction on the top side of this. So anything in between here, and of course anything out here, you know, with your gates. But every gate I've ever seen always has some loss in it. Of course the ductwork, I talked about it and sealed it all up earlier today. But anyway, put this little bracket in here. I didn't get that in there very straight, but oh well. And this is the reason you say, well, why do I need that when I got that one up there? Well, that one up there handles my shop just fine. And a few times a year I do crafting events with our Royal Ranger boys, and we come in and we'll set up a bunch of tools for making plywood derby cars or FCF boxes or canteens or cups or something other. And it's nice to have some good suction on the job. And then, of course, you see that paint booth up there. That's a 4-position paint booth. I've got another little Gen Air fan, but I wouldn't even need that. I could use this thing and pull it in from there and run it through that. So, so I can probably turn loose that fan. Anyway, I put the handle back on here, and this thing rolls around real easy. There she is there. Got great suction. I mean, it beats my 1 horse over out of both of those. With both of those just blown open, it's got more suction than my little 1 horse motor. Of course, it's got double the motor on it too. So anyhow, there you go. There's your bag. I still kept this. It's just a wooden disc, 19.5-inch disc that's underneath it, and it's got a 4x6 hole that's bolted right to the blower, and just a little deal to hold it up. And of course I just cabbaged a couple of switches. I bought these for some shop vacs that the switches were bad. They're like $8-9. I couldn't even buy the switches for what Harbor Freight had these for, so I've used them off and on for different things. So I just went ahead and put it right there, and boom, boom. And of course on my system here, I use a fob. This is a little 15 amp switch that will switch mine on. I mean, right there, you hit that, it's on and off. That thing's been off 50,000 times and off. I've never even had to replace the batteries in this thing. So I've used it like 4 years. So it's outstanding. It sits out here in the garage in my little box there, and I come out and put it around my neck. And this is where the cord's been cut in half, and it's just a piece of masking tape loosely holds the cords together. So if something grabs it, it's not gonna pull my head down into some moving machinery of some kind. But anyway, this design, of course, I used everything except for what you see right here. And I didn't use that deal there. And I took the handle off, and I took, of course, the blower. This is a mess that was just from our lock-in for one day. And these of changing that out so much easier in that and that kind of thing. So to get it to work, all you got to do is just pull that out, lift that up, pull that out, tilt this out, and there you go. And to get it going back in, it's very much the same thing. It's just by gravity. I've got some new tape on there. I need to probably go around it, work it a little bit more. See how she sticks. See how she sticks up there. And so there we go. Yeah. So that's gonna make a good deal. I'll probably try to utilize this in the shop somewhere or another. Whether I put it on a cart that takes it up in the attic and bring it down when I need it, I'm not really sure. But I've got to shit out back and store it in as well. Put the bungee on here so when this is being pulled right here, it'll be secured, and then I made this where it's a little adjustable. So I'll probably this has a yeah. So anyway, there's that. Weight wise, it's just a little bit heavier than the other one. I was thinking about cutting some round circles in here and reduce the weight bulk out of this thing, and just cut some circles, cut some circles in it, reduce about half the mass in here by just simply putting it on CNC and cutting circles. So that's that wooden disc that's underneath that thing right there. That wooden disc is down in there. So of course there's the engine down there, the motor, so that's all factory down on that part of it. And there's the hasp. So this will never really have to be cleaned. I mean, it just won't have to be cleaned unless I let that overfill. And then if it does, I just have to pop that off and clean it off. So, but this is just a filter to keep the air out. But again, 99.9% good air is coming through that and going through the blower. No debris should ever make it in there unless that's full. If that's full, it'll take it up there and you'll start hearing it clanging. So, that's a good sign. Don't let it get there. But and then the bottom of the bucket just sits in the socket right there. 3/4 inch base, the hole in it, and there you go. It's working good.